There are quite a few interesting sorceries you can dig up within the Lands of Shadow. However, one of the most devastating is Impenetrable Thorns, which summons pillars of thorns from the ground that not only cause a ton of base damage, but it also causes some significant hemorrhage buildup as well. For those of you who went with a heavy faith build, you could always pick up the Staff of the Guilty from the Lands Between, which scales sorceries with faith rather than intelligence, and it increases the damage of all thorn sorceries by 20%. So let's get ready to take a direct route to this spell's location and get after it. Starting from the Pillar Path cross side of Grace, you'll need to head northwest along the cliff until you come across a series of ledges where you can drop down safely into the swamp area below. Once at the bottom, you'll need to travel southeast along the highlighted route until you come across a covered Spirit Spring. Once you uncover the Spirit Spring, you can take it up to the Fort of Reprimand, where you'll need to exit through the front gate and travel northwest along the road until you reach the Morth Ruins side of Grace. From the side of Grace, you can hop on Torrent and ride east, avoiding all the shade enemies and through the cloth-covered stone archway. Once through the archway, you'll bear north through the ruins, where you'll need to drop down into a network of narrow connecting tunnels near a broken building which leads underneath the ruins. What's great about this run is you can remain on Torrent the entire time, making it extremely easy to avoid enemies. After you hit the ground, you can take the southern tunnel all the way to the end until you come across another area to drop down among a series of ruined buildings. You'll need to drop down a careful path, which includes making a bit of a precision landing on a balcony and then again to the bottom floor. Once at the bottom, you can take the tunnel to the southeast all the way to its end until you reach a ladder that you can climb up to the surface. After climbing all the way to the top, you'll come into the Bonnie Village, which is a fairly hidden location and often missed if you're really just pushing hard through the main DLC story. From the Bonnie Village, you'll need to follow the highlighted route to the east across 2 rope bridges, and then follow the road to the north, and then back west a bit until you come to a fork in the road. Then you'll need to take the northern fork, where you'll uncover a back entrance to the Shadow Keep through a bit of a dicey path within its church district. Spoiler alert, just make sure you talk to all the main NPCs before approaching the Shadow Keep, since breaking the seal advances some questlines. For this section of the video, if you just follow the route I'm taking, you'll end up in the Specimen Storehouse within the Shadow Keep, which is the main jump-off point to finding the sorcery. After exiting the lift into the Specimen storeroom, you'll need to head southwest into a nearby room where you can light the Site of Grace. After lighting the Site of Grace, you'll continue west, where you'll come across a ladder that leads higher up into the storeroom. It's important to note that from this point on, you can just run past all of the enemies in the area with very little trouble. After taking the ladder to the top, you can head east up a flight of stairs and then head northeast until you reach the end of the bookcases, where you can wrap around them back to the south, then head through the break in the outer wall and up a few flights of stairs to the next Site of Grace. After lighting the Site of Grace, you can take the elevator to the north, which will bring you up to the rafters above. And once up in the rafters, you'll need to run to the southwest corner and run around to the other side, avoiding all the bats that are littered throughout the area, where you'll find a ladder that leads up one more level. Once at the top, you'll need to take the rafters around until you see a bat sitting below you on a gear. Then just jump down onto the gear and then immediately jump onto the rafter to the east and then finally jump down to the main floor. Once you land on the main floor, you can turn to the southwest where you'll need to drop down onto the floor below. And if you want, you can soften the fall just a bit by landing on the bookshelf on the southern end of the balcony. Once you hit the ground below, there'll be a doorway to the west that you can exit and immediately turn to the south. Head down the flight of stairs and you'll find a few shade enemies you can make quick work of before continuing south out onto the landing. After taking out the last shade enemy, you'll need to carefully drop down to the floor below where you'll need to dispatch a bat who's hanging out waiting for its next meal. Once you turn the bat into an earthworm playground, you can head over to the eastern wall and grab the Impenetrable Thorns Sorcery. Stay safe out there, Tarnished, and as always, good hunting.